everyone, my name is Francesca. I'm an Italian knitter and this is episode number 5 of an Italian knitting podcast. Saying episode 5 makes me quite proud of myself for sticking with it. I guess it means that I have 4 episodes so far. I filmed them, edited them, uploaded them. I don't know. Good job, me. Sorry for my hair. You're watching a knitting podcast, so probably you're not here for the hair content, but I feel like it's worse than usual. That's about it. Today, for you, I have 2 finished objects. I am wearing both of them right now. And I have 2 works in progress, 2 plans for the future, maybe more. Yeah, maybe more. And a couple of yarn acquisitions. Cool, let's start. So the first finished object is the one that I'm wearing right now. This is the Daily Ritual Raglan by Park Williams. It has this very high turtleneck, which I folded down. In pictures, I've seen people also wearing the collar this way. Not sure if I love it. I mean, I'm happy that there are many possibilities, but I feel like this would be the way I'd like to wear it. And this is a Raglan sweater, top down, and the yarn I used, it's called Mercerized Merino from Lane du Nord. I find that it's very, very soft. I actually bought 10 balls from my local yarn store. I wanted 7 or 8 based on the pattern instructions, but the owner of the store was like, no, I'll sell 10 to you, please, because I feel like you might need them, because I see that the pattern has quite a lot of ease and length and a neck, and you can always bring back the extra balls of yarn if you have leftover. And so I actually have, other than this tiny amount, I have 2 new balls. So I'm excited to go maybe tomorrow or next week back to the store, return those and pick up something else with my credit. Yeah, very soft yarn. And I feel like the fabric that I knit up, it's very lightweight, very comfortable, and I think it's a little bit more lightweight than other sweaters that I have, and so I feel like it'll be perfect for the spring season that we're approaching. I usually follow patterns to a T. Is it true? I think so, yeah. I follow the patterns pretty much how they're written. I follow them. However, this time I made a couple of modifications. So first of all, I reduced the amount of length here at the underarm. It's still a bit deep, I think. Let's see if I can show you. It is still a pretty deep underarm, but the pattern actually called for more space here before splitting for the sleeves. But based on the pictures that I've seen of other people's projects, I didn't want all of that. So I split a little bit before compared to what the pattern recommended. And the other thing is I did a little bit of a looser sleeve. The pattern called for more decreases before the cuffs. I didn't make all of them because I felt like this was already a fitted sleeve for me, for my body shape, for my arm shape, I guess, forearm shape. And so I did a little bit less decreases. I guess this goes without saying, but if you're following a pattern, maybe try it on if you can, even just slip an arm into the sleeve that you're knitting, just to see if it matches your preference, your likings. I mean, there's no knitting police that'll come to you and say, you didn't follow the pattern to a T. You did your own modifications. So, I mean, I would encourage everyone to make modifications like this one. So even if, for example, a pattern says knit the body for X amount of centimeters and they're going for a cropped fit, and maybe you don't like the crop fit, just knit for longer or knit for less centimeters if you feel like your body shape would benefit from like a more cropped garment. So you do you. I did me. I did a little bit of modifications here and there, and I think it worked out pretty well. I also feel like this pattern is pretty adjustable, so I feel like I'll keep it in my Ravelry library there, where I can keep an eye on it, in the sense that I feel like I might be knitting one of these again in the future, maybe without the turtleneck. So the neck here, what you do is you pick up stitches around the neckline and you knit up until you don't want the neck anymore. So I've knitted it quite a long neck, but maybe next time I can do just a regular like short collar, or maybe like a mock neck. I don't know. I feel like you can play with the length of the collar here pretty easily, so I might be doing that. Other than that, as I said, raglan top down, so you can adjust it. I also did a little bit of a waist decreases. It was the first time in my life I did that. You cannot really tell because I didn't do many, but like there are some decreases here at the waist, and I feel like it gives me a little bit of a better shape. It's not boxy, it's a little bit tailored to my waist, so I do like that. Cool. I think that's it about the daily ritual raglan. Recommended. I would still suggest, if you're knitting this pattern, to try it on so that you can see if you like the sleeve circumference, if you would like the underarm maybe split for the sleeve a little bit sooner than the pattern asked for if you want to. And for the waist decreases, you can add them if you want a more tailored shape, or you can avoid doing those decreases if you want more of a boxy fit, which I usually like. I just wanted to switch it up a little bit and try something new. So for this sweater, the yarn that I used came up to around 33 or 34 euros. But to me that's a great price. So anything, like if I can stay around like 30 euros for the yarn for a sweater, I think for me it's perfect. I'm okay with 40, 50, around that ballpark, especially if it's a yarn that I haven't tried before, or like something special, like a very perfect color. I'm okay with that. But anyway, if I do like the color and the yarn and it's also around like 30 euros, I can consider myself very happy with that. The other finished object, which is also the other garment I'm wearing, it's underneath this sweater. Maybe I think I'll edit a little bit here. I don't know if I want to flash anyone. Here I am. I am wearing the Skagen Tee by Witre Design, and this is my first spring-summer shirt that I've knitted up in 2022, and the second summer shirt I've ever knitted in my life. I'm not like a very prolific summer garment knitter. Is that how you say? I used to live in San Francisco, California, and even though it's in California, it is very cold all year round. I guess it's cold for my standards. I feel like someone might be listening and say like, "Oh, San Francisco, it's not cold. You should think about Norway." You are right. But I meant to say, like, for my standards, San Francisco is pretty cold and chilly. So I was able to knit on lightweight sweaters, even in the summer. Like July, I would be knitting away. It was not uncomfortable working with wool. But I feel like now that I'm back in Italy, I won't be able to do that in July here. I'll be sweaty. I'm sweating already, just even thinking about it. So I feel like I might be knitting more of these in the future. We'll see. Anyway, this is, as I mentioned, the Skagen Tee. It's a bottom-up pattern. First ever bottom-up pattern that I've ever done in my life. I mean, I've not been knitting for 20 years or so, but anyway, yeah, first bottom-up pattern, probably and possibly the last one. I didn't love the experience of having to knit the body and the sleeves separately and then attaching them together and not really being able to tell if the length of the different pieces would work out for my body. I just kind of went with the length that the pattern recommended and added a few more centimeters just based on the fact that I usually don't like cropped garments. So I needed a few centimeters more than the pattern asked for, and I just joined everything in the round and finished up with the yoke. But yeah, I don't know, the length to me is perfect. I'm able to tuck it in into my high-waisted shorts and jeans, and I'm very happy with the result, but it was somewhat stressful to be knitting on it and not know if I would like the final result. So I don't know, I guess it was as stressful as knitting can be. Not truly stressful, but like I was thinking, oh, with all the hours I am putting into this process, I would like to be kind of sure that I would like the final result, and it didn't happen in this case. I also did a few other modifications to the pattern. So the pattern is a cardigan style shirt, so open here in the front with a button band and buttons, but I did not want to knit and purl. I didn't want to knit flat back and forth. I'm more of a stockinette in the round kind of gal, especially because I can do that while watching my daughter, watching TV, thinking about other stuff. Like I can keep my hands busy and engaged, but also do other stuff with my mental energy. And if I do instead back and forth knit and purl, it's not as mindless for me. I guess not as enjoyable. So I did modify the pattern to just be knitted in the round, and what I did is that I cast on all the required stitches that the cardigan shirt called for, and then I added a few more stitches to mimic the width of the button band, and then I just joined in the round and knit around. I also filmed the process and uploaded it as my first knitting vlog. If you are into knitting vlogs, or if you'd like to just see someone knit, maybe while you're having a hot beverage or enjoying your lunch, I'm there for you, and you can see me knit the shirt from the start to the very end, and you can see like my thought process of, ooh, how am I gonna solve this situation, or will I find a tutorial to do this? You'll also see a lot of footage of my cat and a little bit of footage of my daughter's feet, like walking around while I try to knit. So anyway, that was a fun process to film and edit. And actually, yeah, I mean, I'm happy to have tried the bottom-up construction so that now I know what I like, what I don't like, what things I would do differently. I feel like if I have the chance now between a bottom-up and a top-down pattern which look the same, I would always 100% go for the top-down, like with no doubt. However, I feel like if I'll find a bottom-up pattern that I really like and I cannot find anything similar in a top-down fashion, what I'm thinking I'll be doing is I will do a provisional cast on here for the body, knit a few centimeters and do the yoke in a bottom-up style, and then I would pick up this provisional cast on and finish knitting the body down in a top-down fashion. I would benefit from being able to just follow the instructions on the pattern, but then I would be able to knit the body how much I'd like to and try it on the garment. I feel like that's a good compromise. I'm sure other people have done it before. If you have done it, or if you know someone, or if you have actually any opinion about the bottom-up versus top-down constructions, let me know. Maybe you'll be able to convince me that bottom-up is much better. So far, doesn't seem like that's what I'm thinking. So for this pattern, I've used Drops Saffron in this red clay color. This is such a beautiful color. I feel like it goes well with my hair. Not sure if it's true. I just like this color very much. And I have a few balls left, which I'm using to knit something, and you'll see it in my works in progress. And in the spirit of my experiment of how much does Francesca spend for each garment, the yarn for this shirt came up to €5.50. Is it true? Yes, €5.50. So each skein or each ball of this yarn, this is 100% cotton yarn. It was, when I bought it, €1.10. So 5 balls, €5.50. I know math. I'm an engineer. Can you tell? No. Cool. But before showing you my works in progress, I have to put this sweater back on because I'm in my office. It's like a different angle with the plant here to make it look slightly prettier, but it's still cold, so there we go. So as I was saying, I have some of the Drops Saffron left over from the summer shirt, and what I'm doing is I cast on something that looks like a sleeve, right? But this is a Ripple Bralette by Jessie Meed Designs. So this is actually something that will need to be slipped on, and I did try it on a few times and it fits perfectly. So it actually looks small, but it's very stretchy because this is ribbing, and it would go across my boobs, my chest, I should say. So the pattern itself is more for a bralette style garment, so it would only be covering your chest area and not much longer than that. But what I'm doing, since I do have a good amount of yarn, is I am knitting it as a camisole, like a very fitted camisole, but it would be longer. So I'm picturing it when it's actually done to be covering from my waist, just maybe around my high-waisted jeans area, up to my entire upper body and chest. So I don't know if I'll be wearing it underneath my shirt, or if I might be able to wear it by the beach and by itself as just a garment on top of my jeans. I feel like for the beach and kind of summer vacations, no one would judge me if I would be wearing something like this. It still provides a good amount of coverage, and also I don't have a lot of chest, so I mean, I don't think it looks scandalous. It doesn't look like underwear. I think that's what I'll find, but we'll see. This is a bottom-up pattern, so I cast on here the ribbing and then I knit up until I want the length, and then I can do the straps that you attach then on the back. I think I would also love to make for myself actual bralettes, so more like shorter in length bralettes to wear underneath shirts. And what I'm thinking is that when I'm ready to do the straps here, when I feel like the length is good, I'll weight the ball of yarn that I have left before and after knitting the straps, so that I can calculate exactly the amount of yarn that I need for the straps. And I think that would allow me to take one of these random ball of yarns that I have from my mom's cousin, and I would be able to cast on a bralette with this yarn, knit up until I have the exact amount of yarn left that I need for the straps, and that would be it. I would have very minimal left over, and I would do something with the skein of yarn, and also I would have these amazing bralettes that everyone is wearing. So I'm excited for that. I think this is a great plan. Also, these bralettes are very mindless to knit. They are in ribbing, so it's not super relaxing, but it is still a stitch that I can do without watching. So actually it's not true. I need to check my work, take a look, maybe after 10 stitches or so, just to make sure that I'm not doing something completely wrong, but it's still something that my hands can do without me watching all the time. So it provides that relaxing knit for me. Yeah, I'm excited for this project. Also, the ripple bralette pattern is super size inclusive, and I love that. Like, I love that no matter your size, you're able to knit something that it's pretty, it looks great. On the Ravelry pattern page, there are so many pictures of so many knitters and in different body shapes, and the bralettes all look amazing on each of the people, and I hope it will look great on me too. We'll see. But yeah, and I've seen different lengths. People have knitted longer or shorter, more ease, less ease, so more fitted or more chill and loose. So very adaptable. I'm very happy I purchased the pattern and tried to make a bralette. We'll see. Hopefully you will see a bralette of each of this color soon on this channel. And the second work in progress that I have going on is, drumroll please, my third no frills sweater. The pattern is by PetiteKnit. I will insert a little bit of footage here for you because the actual sweater in progress is currently drying here beside me on my yoga mat, because as I mentioned before, I like to wash and block my in progress garments a little bit before it's time to do the ribbing, the hem, so that I can actually see how much it stretches, because it happened to me a few times where I've knitted the cuffs and blocked it afterward and it turned out super long. So I do not want to make that mistake again, so I now block before the ribbing. And yeah, so I feel like it'll be completed quite soon as this is dry, and as soon as I try it on, I can then decide how much more stockinette I want to knit before the cuffs. But I think is I think beautiful about this pattern and this project. The only modification I've done this time for my third version is that I did a twisted rib collar neckline, and I plan to do a twisted rib bottom hem and for the cuffs as well, to give it a little bit of a different look compared to my other no frills sweaters. It's a top down raglan, so there's no issue with guessing the length of your body parts. You can just try it on and see if you like the length, and after that you can finish the garment up, which it's perfect for my tastes. As I said, I still need to finish up the cuffs and the bottom hem, but I do have quite a good amount of yarn left over, and what I'm trying to do this time is to really understand how much yarn I need for my standard no frills sweater, or just a regular like raglan style sweater, so that next time, or I guess next times that I go to a yarn store or order online, I know how much yarn to actually order, because I usually just go for a little bit more than 1,000 meters. Usually that's more than enough for me, but I don't want to buy more than enough. I want to buy enough. So I will do a little bit of math after finishing up the sweater to understand how much of these drops Lima I've used up, so that I know exactly how many meters I need for this type of sweaters. I know that it's around 1,000 meters, but I feel like it's gonna be less. I'm gonna guess 900, something around that ballpark. Cool. So for the plans for the future section of the podcast, I already shared that I do want to make lots of bralettes, and I hope to keep that promise to myself. But I bought a good amount of yarn, which I will show you now. I have 2 sweater quantities of yarn from an online store called Strikke.it, and they have lots of Sandnes garn yarn, which is the yarn that PetiteKnit always recommends on her patterns, and I feel like it's also a favorite for many knitters, so I really wanted to grab some. And so on the website there were certain sweater quantities discounted, and that's, I think maybe some of the colors were gonna be discontinued maybe, but also because the sweater quantities were like a barely sweater quantity for me. So I should be able to make a sweater out of both of these quantities of yarn, but it will be just enough. I won't have leftovers probably, which is perfect for me. I do not like to have lots of extra yarn because then I don't know what to do with it, and it also like money that I spent that I could have done something else with. The first sweater quantity that I have is in this almond color. This is the Sunday, the PetiteKnit version, which just means that PetiteKnit chose the colorways, and this is in the color almond together with its correspondent tin silk mohair shade matching, and I have 4 of each of them. So 4 of each of them, it's I think an extra small or a small size, but if you're short like me, so if you're like my size, which is not very tall, I need like quite short sleeves and a short body as well because I'm not that tall, and so 4 bowls of each should be enough for me. And this was 51 euros. This sweater quantity in this almond color was 51 euros instead of something like 68 euros if you had paid full price for this. And the other sweater quantity, barely sweater quantity that I have is in this double Sunday. I'm gonna say this is called eucalyptus colorway. I will check. Again, this is the PetiteKnit color selection. I didn't actually care about the fact that it said PetiteKnit. It just, the colors are so beautiful and muted and so lovely. The first sweater quantity I mentioned before, it's a fingering weight held with a mohair, while this second quantity, this is a DK weight. So I can kind of knit the same pattern because the gauge will be probably very, very similar. And what I'm thinking here, it's not to do another no-frills sweater, which is what you were thinking about. I guess that's also what I was thinking about when I purchased it, but then I'm like, no, it's time to do something slightly different. So what I'm thinking for one of the 2 quantities is to knit the classic cozy raglan by Jessie Meed Designs. Not sure if that's the exact name, but I'll put it here. And I'm thinking that maybe it will be in this yarn here. I'm not 100% sure. And maybe this could be a cardigan. If you have suggestions, let me know. I'm very open to your opinions. The mohair seems to be very soft, like compared to other mohairs that I've tried. Maybe the Drops Kit Silk mohair, I feel like this might be a little bit softer, so I'm excited to swatch it and see how it feels against my skin. I'm not very sensitive. I wear almost anything on my skin, so it's just that the softer it is, the more enjoyable it is on my skin. And that's it. I feel like this is very exciting. When I opened this box, it really felt like Christmas. I love opening boxes so much. It doesn't need to be something special like yarn. It could be just like food for my cat. And I love opening boxes anyway, so that's it. Yeah. So these are 2 sweaters / cardigans, not oversized, because again, this is just the bare minimum quantity of a regular sweater. I cannot do cables, I cannot do complicated patterns, but that's not what I do anyway. I do much prefer like a very plain stockinette, relaxing knit, so not a problem for me. I think that might be it for today's episode. I hope you're doing very well today and this weekend and into next week. My husband actually is out of the country for work for the week. I drove him to the airport just a couple of hours ago, and so it means that I'm by myself with my daughter. So it'll be interesting to just have to work during the day and then care for my daughter in the evenings and not have a little bit of a break. However, I am planning to deliver my toddler to my parents' house here and there and just get a little bit of a breather, a walk, some work, groceries, yarn store, and similar things, or just a little bit of self-care. Thank you for sticking around and listening to me, and I hope to see you next time. Bye, friends.